Greetings, talent on loan from the mob. What do I want to talk about today? Well, I'm reading this book called Insanely Simple: The Obsession That Drives Apple's Success by Ken Segall. And noting the interesting commentary of Steve Jobs during a board meeting involving marketing and market research. And don't get me wrong, market research is very important, but if you know anything about the Steve Jobs famous style of governing his company, was not to be a big, clumsy, just do it a certain way, big type of corporation. If you had no substance, he'd throw you out. I mean, he would literally throw you out of the meeting if he could get away with it, or at least shut down the conversation and scold people. So the very interesting things that are in this book on this segment is he's talking to, for example, he goes into part of the presentation. He says, a few more minutes into the show, Hank was taking Steve through the different demographics groups he had researched in different cities. He even went into the ghetto in Harlem and asked the kids on the basketball court, what did they think of Apple? Well, Jobs interrupted him yet again, according to this book, and said, why do you ask them? He said, they don't have any money. Okay, that was not necessarily an insult. Well, I guess somebody could take it as an insult. And now I'm going to jump to my liberal leanings, because I'm not a right-wing lunatic, and I'm not criticizing nor condoning what Steve Jobs said here. But the fact of the matter is, without money, there is no market. As I've told people before, I am a pro print the money and hand it to people to create markets. Don't just hand the money to the rich people. We've done that for 10 years. You have fiscal conservatives who are so concerned poor people could get something without working. The fact of the matter, many people get stuff without working for it. That comes through inheritance. Well, their parents did. I don't want to pay for it. You're paying for a lot of rich people's stuff. You were paying for 10 years for 0% interest to loan money to the richest people in our country so they could stockpile it and do whatever they want. They were rewarded for allowing the collapse to happen in our country from 2008 and 2009. Then, as their reward, they got 0% interest. But you are dumb enough to believe that your credit cards and your insurance are all high because of the dumb poor people who have no responsibility. That's not true. For one, simple mathematical figures. The poor people don't have enough money to run the economy. What you're probably mad at is poor people's behaviors. You're mad at poor people's behaviors, okay? And because of their behavior, you don't want to give them any more money. But that's not going to fix the problem. We need markets. We need people that can buy stuff. If people have money, just to go buy stuff is a little bit of effort. Just to learn something new is a little bit of effort. Just to cook your meals is a little bit of effort. Let's at least call it a little bit of effort, okay? Because I know a lot of people want to say something is not work. That is actually work. They want to shortchange you on the amount of time it takes for you to get prepared for your job when you're not even being paid to go to that job yet. They want to shortchange you on the commuter time that you have, that you're not even getting paid on the job. We get so many people that are pro-corporate in their brains that I just want to sometimes slap them upside the head and say, quit standing up for the rich people. Quit standing up for the rich people every day. Quit standing up for the rich people. And can I get through to them? I don't know. But anyhow, what was also interesting wasn't just Steve Jobs here during this marketing meeting. He didn't, you can say he insulted poor people in Harlem or not. You can argue it both ways. But that wasn't Steve Jobs' point. He's like, why are you telling me about somebody that might not buy my products? It would have been better to probably go to Steve Jobs. How can, what can we sell in that area? What can we sell in Harlem? These are the things that sound offensive, but they're not. Common sense is you must have money in that market so people can buy your products. If nobody has any money in that market, all they can do is at best look at your product and say, wow, that is neat. I'd buy that if I had the money. I'd buy that if I had the money. But if they have no money, there is no market. You know, when you're worried about poor people getting money, you're being an idiot. You're being an idiot. You got rich people sitting on piles of cash, decades of cash they're not going to spend for decades. It just sits in a big pile in the banks. $2 billion just sitting there, not really working for anybody but them. Not helping society, not helping you, not helping your business. A lot of people, what do we have? 90% of businesses, small businesses going out of business. Why do we have that? Because the money's all tied up by the rich people. They're sitting on piles of printed money. It's not in circulation. It cannot get in your hands, and therefore it cannot pay your mortgage off. And that's why you went bankrupt in 2008 and 2009. The money's not there. The poor people are being there. It's like, no, you have cooties. You can't have money. You're poor. You have cooties. You can't have money. You're going to stay broke. You're a broke ass. Broke. You're dangerous to society. You have bad behaviors. We know it. Pull your pants up. Get to work. And then there's no money to be made when they pull their pants up and go to work. So these are some of the right wingers. Don't confuse Steve Jobs with that. This one little comment, although could be, I'm sure somebody could make a big deal out of it if it would have been more publicized. But this was in the book that I mentioned. But one thing else that got him pissed off during this meeting, and now I'm jumping around because I wanted to highlight some of the things in the books and the thoughts that came to me from the book. But he was dealing with some marketing guru, that new marketing guy who probably thought he was a guru, following the textbook, of having a couple ideas and then trying to shine it up and make it look better than it was. Steve Jobs he sees through that. It's like, hey man, you got 20 slide presentation, but your ideas are not solid. You have no strong ideas in this. You are in fact wasting time. Who will buy my products? Poor people won't buy Apple products, is kind of what he's saying. Well, we know that can be played with. We can do things, but maybe to change that in the future. But when you're a business, you're competing with IBM. You need to find people that an actual market. And if we want to create more markets in the future, poor people have to become unpoor. Poor people might have to be given a chance. Oh, but I don't want to pay for it. I am a taxpayer. I don't want to pay for it. You're paying for rich people now, buddy. You're paying for them all the time. You're running around with your hunting knife and your belt and your pants pulled up way past your belly button, and you're running around in your plaid shirt, and there's nothing wrong with that. God bless, Duck Dynasty and all that. But what I'm trying to say is your principles don't necessarily work. You think they work, but they might not work. And the same here, he shot down a rich guy too. He insulted people in Harlem, but he also insulted this rich derelict from the marketing industry who thought that his 20-slide presentation was such a great thing and it was all polished and clean. And it's like, your 20 slides could have been reduced down to 3 slides, and you could have showed me a way that actually would benefit my company instead of being more selfish and showing me how great you are. And this is left-wingers and right-wingers. You see people on the left and the right who just talk a lot of shit and don't do anything and don't fix anything. I've met left-wingers who were like, hey, we're going to get together and we're going to work and build something. They couldn't do shit. They didn't know shit. They could talk forever and never produce, never make anybody's life better, do nothing but waste my time and energy and never get nowhere. And Steve Jobs, you don't build Apple by listening to fools. He doesn't suffer fools very easily. So this is Don Pryor looking at an excerpt from Insanely Simple by Ken Segall on Apple and how they became great through their marketing schemes. Don Pryor signing off, talent on loan from the mob. Like my post and my station now. Later.